The Battle of the Hydaspes River, fought in 326 BC, was one of the most extraordinary and decisive engagements in the career of Alexander the Great, taking place during his invasion of India and representing both the peak of his tactical brilliance and the limits of his army's endurance. After having conquered the Persian Empire and advanced through Bactria and the Hindu Kush, Alexander turned his attention to the lands beyond the Indus River, where he encountered King Porus, ruler of the territory between the Hydaspes and the Acesines rivers. Porus was not a minor chieftain, but a powerful monarch commanding a large and disciplined army that included infantry, cavalry, chariots, and, most importantly, war elephants. Animals that inspired terror among both men and horses and that posed a completely new challenge to the Macedonian way of warfare. The confrontation was set on the banks of the Hydaspes River, which was swollen by monsoon rains and presented a formidable natural obstacle. Alexander realized that a direct crossing would be disastrous, since Porus had lined the opposite bank with his elephants and troops, prepared to crush any attempt at fording. To overcome this, Alexander devised one of his most ingenious maneuvers. He split his army, leaving his general Craterus with a strong detachment in the camp to create a diversion, while he secretly marched upstream under the cover of darkness and a thunderstorm, leading a chosen force of cavalry, archers, and infantry. Crossing at a less guarded point with the help of boats and rafts, Alexander managed to transport his men to the far side, and then advanced quickly to take Porus by surprise from the flank. When Porus realized what had happened, he moved to confront Alexander with his main army, deploying his elephants in a long line, supported by infantry behind them and cavalry on the wings. The sight was daunting. About 200 elephants formed a living wall, their tusks sharpened and their riders ready to unleash havoc. The battle that followed was brutal and unlike anything the Macedonians had ever experienced. The elephants charged, crushing soldiers and horses underfoot, creating chaos and fear within Alexander's phalanx. Macedonian spearmen, however, fought with discipline, targeting the mahouts and the animals' vulnerable flanks, while archers rained arrows to wound and blind them. At the same time, Alexander skillfully directed his cavalry to attack Porus's horsemen, gaining superiority on the wings and gradually encircling the Indian forces. The struggle was long and bloody, with tremendous losses on both sides, but Alexander's coordination and the relentless pressure of the Macedonian combined arms eventually turned the tide. As the elephants grew wounded and panicked, they became as dangerous to their own troops as to the enemy, trampling friend and foe alike, and the Indian formation began to collapse. Porus himself displayed extraordinary courage, fighting atop his elephant and continuing to resist even after being badly wounded. His refusal to retreat or surrender impressed Alexander profoundly. When Porus was finally captured and brought before him, the conqueror asked how he wished to be treated, and Porus famously replied, "Like a king." Admiring his valor and nobility, Alexander not only spared him, but reinstated him as satrap of his own kingdom, granting him additional territories as a sign of trust to secure the loyalty of the region. This gesture revealed Alexander's political wisdom, for he understood that cooperation with strong local rulers was often more effective than outright subjugation. The victory at the Hydaspes River expanded Alexander's dominion deeper into India, but it also marked a critical turning point in his campaign. Though triumphant, his army was exhausted after years of marching and constant warfare. The fear of facing even larger armies with more elephants in the vast lands beyond the Ganges weighed heavily on the soldiers, and soon after, at the Hydaspes River, they openly refused to continue eastward. Thus, the Battle of the Hydaspes River stands not only as a testament to Alexander's military genius and his ability to adapt to new forms of warfare, but also as the moment that revealed the practical limits of conquest, when the ambition of the greatest commander in antiquity met the weariness of men who had followed him to the ends of the known world. It remains one of the most iconic battles of antiquity, celebrated both for the ferocity of its combat and for the mutual respect shown between two warrior kings.